Well, finally, some wet weather over the last week or so. After several rounds of rainfall, you may be wondering, where do we stand on the drought conditions as we round the corner from September into October? And how will the potential drought impact the fall harvest as well as other fall activities? Meteorologist John Burchfield here with the latest Climate Friday newsletter. We're going to be talking a rainfall update as well as where we stand on the drought and how things are expected to evolve in the coming weeks. If you're not already subscribed to the Climate Friday newsletter, head to WTOL.com/email for the latest climate related information each and every week. We've been monitoring the impacts of this drought over the last several weeks, a quick acting flash drought as it's known, with rainfall really been sparse over the latter half of the month. So how has the drought impacted the Buckeye State? Well, believe it or not, even though we saw some rainfall locally this last week, severe drought has expanded over the course of the last week or so across Ohio, and the number of Ohioans suffering from a severe drought has grown markedly. Now, 64% of the Buckeye State is under a severe drought, and that number has gone up by 5%. A week ago, 59% of Ohioans were feeling a severe drought. Now, that is up to a 64%. So it goes to show that the rainfall was not experienced by all. Also notably, the entirety of Lucas County is feeling a severe drought, and that is something that remains unchanged even with the recent rainfall. The latest drought monitor still shows you a significant chunk of northwest Ohio under that level 3 severe drought shown in orange, stretching from Ottawa County and Lucas County down towards Wood County and many locations west of I-75 neighboring Indiana, including Williams, Fulton, Henry, and Defiance counties, where rainfall is very much needed. All of Lucas County now under a severe drought, and that fact remains unchanged. Now, Wood County did get a decent dose of rainfall this week, but based on the latest data, still showing a severe drought. Hopefully that changes into next week, but this rainfall this week was really not a total drought buster. It was a good thing, but it wasn't quite enough. As far as how much rain we saw this week, there was quite the cutoff right along the span of the Maumee River. Areas south and east of the river saw the highest rainfall totals, with locations north and west seeing a little bit less. Here's some of those heavier rainfall amounts. Locations from Pemberville and Lucky stretching over towards Woodville. We're in the sweet spot as far as rainfall is concerned, south of the Toledo Metro, where I'm seeing some rainfall totals that exceeded 2 inches over the course of the week. Certainly good news for those farm fields and lawns in Wood County that were parched and in need of the rainfall. The heaviest rain occurred during Tuesday's severe thunderstorms, and that was in north central Ohio. Areas in eastern Erie and eastern Huron counties, notably from Wakeman up towards Vermilion. That is where some of the heaviest rainfall occurred. And this stretch of purple and pink, that indicates some rainfall amounts in excess of 4 inches of rainfall. Some of those higher rainfall amounts just barely missed our area up towards Lorain. However, portions of Erie and Huron County did get a nice dousing of rainfall, even though it did come along with some severe weather. Now, across the metro, rainfall was much more sparse in nature, with much of the metro only receiving about ½ an inch. There were some amounts closer to 6 or 7/10 of an inch near White House. However, out at the airport, rainfall did not even make it up to ½ an inch this week. Down towards Putnam and Hancock counties, rainfall also very much good news. Between Findlay and Ottawa, there are some rainfall reports in the ballpark of 1 inch to 1½ inches. Now, with the rainfall, we did see a number of severe weather reports, including confirmed tornadoes, most notably in northeastern Indiana, but also one within our immediate viewing area. We are tracking a tornado warning Tuesday evening in Hillsdale County, and an EF0 was confirmed in Camden, Michigan, with max wind speeds of 65 miles per hour. Now, we did get the rain, but it did come with some nasty storms earlier in the week. So where do we stand in terms of monthly rainfall? Not a total drought buster. We did need that rain, but there is still a big time deficit that is not likely to be erased. Toledo is 1.89 inches below average, and rainfall so far this September, at least at the airport, has been shy of 7/10 of an inch. Now, some of you may have seen more rainfall than that. Of course, this is where our official weather observations come in, but locations south of the Maumee River did get a a little bit more. Over the course of the past week, Toledo Express has seen just shy of half an inch. More rainfall occurred to the south of the Maumee River, but that official rainfall reading of 0.45, frankly, was not enough. Severe drought continues with monthly rainfall not even quite at 0.7 inches of rain. So across the Buckeye State, where does the drought stand? Locations in north central Ohio are starting to see at least a bit of a positive response to recent rainfall. It is abnormally dry, but not technically under a drought. Into northeastern Ohio, rainfall has been a bit more abundant, and it's really central into southeastern Ohio. That is where the worst of the drought is occurring, from Columbus on off to the south and east. The highest levels of drought, known as extreme and exceptional, indicated by those red and burgundy colors, that is where rainfall is very much needed, and unfortunately rainfall did not really strike this week in those spots. For many area farmers, it's already too late, and any rainfall that comes at this point in the season not likely to make a meaningful difference. There is also some severe drought that has expanded into Wyandotte and Crawford counties, but it's really northeastern Ohio that has had it best as far as this month is concerned, and rainfall is concerned as well. Across the Buckeye State, almost every single county is feeling some degree of drought or abnormally dry conditions. Of the 88 counties, 87 of them are drier than normal. That light yellow color I showed you on the map, that is what we call abnormally dry, not officially a drought, but still on the fringe of drought conditions, and we'll continue to monitor that as we head towards the remainder of the month and the start of October. Much of the Buckeye State, including now up to close to 98% of Ohio, abnormally dry or under a drought, and moderate drought, that is something that has remained relatively unchanged from the last week. This number pretty much the same as it was a week ago when he brought it to you in the Climate Friday newsletter. 87.7% of Ohio is under a moderate drought or worse. So when you break down each category of drought, almost every single Ohioan is feeling the need for some rainfall. Moderate drought, that number's been relatively unchanged. Unfortunately, severe drought was a category that did grow in the last week. We're at 59% a week ago, now at 64, and that includes all of Lucas County and most of Wood County as well, although I'm hopeful that at least some of the recent rainfall and also what we're tracking into the weekend with the tropical remnants does help alleviate that. Exceptional drought also grew this week, and extreme drought jumped to the double digits. That is the highest tier of drought conditions, and now 13% of Ohioans are feeling extreme drought. This weekend, as we head towards the chance for additional rainfall, we're monitoring the remnants of Helene, and while it's not going to be a washout, there could be some positive news for those of you that are in need of rainfall. You'll want to stay tuned to the WTOL 11 weather forecast throughout the weekend. And next week, we'll have the first Climate Friday newsletter of the month of October. A couple topics we're going to delve into: the fall harvest. Ultimately, how did the numbers fare, and how do farmers deal with all of the drought that has been ongoing? And also, what about the fall colors and the foliage? That is something you may be very interested in, and I'll have the latest in coming up in October.